Beyond Reanimator is the third and final installment in the Reanimator franchise. It picks up years after the events of Bride of Reanimator, and the film sees Wes imprisoned, but he is still pursuing his grotesque experiments. He's now focused on separating the soul from the body and trying to maintain consciousness within the reanimated corpses. The movie blends some gruesome body horror, dark comedy, and exactly what you expect with Reanimator. It's goofy, gory, and a bit all over the place, but I do still enjoy these movies. I'm going to be going over the plot, my review, and finally, my overall rating for the movie in this video, so let's get into it. So the film opens with a flashback where a young boy named Howard Phillips witnesses his sister being killed by a reanimated corpse. This is basically directly after Dr. Herbert West's little stint in Bride of Reanimator, where he pretty much ends with, like, reanimated corpses going all over the place, completely messing up everything, and the house collapsing. And yeah, West is arrested and he's sent to prison, and while Howard grows up determined to understand what happened that night, well, he'll sure be able to understand it soon. Because 17 years later, Dr. Herbert West is now an inmate in a maximum security prison. He is serving time for his unethical experiments, and even behind bars, he continues his work in secret. He uses rats as test subjects, and he has discovered a new nanoplasmic energy, which he believes is the essence of the soul, which he can use to maintain the mind inside of the reanimated corpses by adding a little smidgen of this nanoplasmic technology inside of them. And I think that's kind of cool, you know, if this existed in real life, that would definitely be sold for thousands, if not millions. But yeah, Howard Phillips is now a young doctor, and he secures a position at the prison to work as a new medical officer. He's fascinated by West's research since when he was younger, right as West was being arrested, he sort of just looked down and there was a glowing vial of the reagent, so Howie picked it up and he saved it for him all these years later. But yeah, so with West they become allies and he provides access to the resources that West needs to continue his experiments. Howard shares West's belief that the reagent can be used to revolutionize medicine, but he is also blind to the ethical implications, similar to a certain guy named Dan. I'm looking at you, Dan. Imagine if anyone named Dan is watching this video and they're just like, me? Me? What did I do? But yeah, so they use prison inmates as unwilling test subjects, even though, you know, that's kind of messed up. But then the warden comes down because, well, of course he does. But this is after he murders Howie's girlfriend, because pretty much this reporter named Jennifer has been going around the prison trying to tell a story on it. But the warden is pretty much just absolute dickhead, so he pretty much assaults her, which leads to her death, and Howie is absolutely devastated, so they strap Brando, which is the warden, up to this table, and they shock nanoplasmic energy out of him, which also kills him. And so they put it inside of his girlfriend, and she is suddenly back to life, but she's got a bit of a split personality due to Brando being this abrasive, douchey guy, and her being, you know, a normal person. So she's not exactly happy with being alive again. Well, she is, because she's with Howie, but then at the same time, she's sort of losing her mind. But yeah, they then put some rat reagent into the warden, and the warden comes back as this weird little rat dude, and he's climbing and jumping all over the place, acting like an utter buffoon, but, you know, what do you expect? It's Reanimator. And yeah, after a violent confrontation with a lot of the prisoners, the prison descends into utter chaos as the reanimated corpses of the inmates and staff turn on each other. And West's experiments have created yet another uncontrollable epidemic of undead dudes. Like, I was about to say undead violent creatures, but I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, Hal begins to realise how horrifying everything is and how evil West is. But meanwhile, he's just, you know, doing his usual. He is coldly focused on his research. He really doesn't care about the cons around him. He just cares about, you know, all the opportunities to further refine his theories, research, and all the usual jazz. You know, I don't think where he was planning on going with this, because, like, imagine if he was able to do it in the prison without Howie's help and without any of this going wrong. How would he exactly get all this research to people to, like, help others, or, like, would he publish this, and would they give him, like, a pardon to get out of prison or something? I don't know. But yeah, the film ends with Howie killing Jennifer, because pretty much she's completely lost her mind at this point, and she just wants to die. So he starts slitting her throat, but that isn't enough for some reason, so he entirely decapitates her. And as he's grieving over her dead head, Wes just walks over, grabs his car, and just leaves. Wes is a cold guy. I would not want to be mates with him. Shout out to Dan. But yeah, so beyond Reanimator, it takes the franchise into new territory by replacing Herbert West in a claustrophobic environment. Instead of, the houses, we're in a goddamn prison. And while this setting provides some fresh ideas, it is also limited because, it's kind of boring. It doesn't really feel as gothic and memorable as the original two films. And the film's lower budget is even more evident because they literally just filmed this thing in a Spanish prison and used mainly Spanish actors. So this doesn't sound very much like Massachusetts, guys. It sounds more like, Spain. As someone who lived in Spain for like 5 years, I was like, wait, these guys sound kind of familiar. But yeah, so, I do enjoy this movie, even though it's not the best. It's still got the same dark humour and just utter stupidity of the previous two, and it is able to just continue the weirdness of the last two. It's still got some really good effects, and the gore is plentiful, with some moments of really grotesque, humour and just grotesque, moments in the movie. But the film's budget is so obvious when this is just so weird. It literally includes a severed penis, gaining life, and battling a rat at the end of the movie. Yes. Really. And yes, some of the effects lean more towards the absurdity than the horror. At one point, one of the guys grabs the reagent, sticks it inside of him, and starts having, he starts getting high from sticking the reagent in him, because he's like, oh, that's the good shit. He shoves it inside of him, and he's just like... Yeah, it's really not the best movie, but it's definitely okay. It's not the worst that I've seen. But once again, it's not good. But then again, I don't specifically think that any of these movies are bad. This whole franchise is a whole thing in itself. And hopefully one day I'll be able to watch the Italian film and add it to my ranking. But until then, thank you for watching this video. I give this film a 5 out of 10. As I said, it's not bad. It is just really, really mediocre. But yeah, as I said, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video. I do really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. But until next time, bye-bye.